I am her mother and she has to obey me. It's the law.
No, it's not. Based on what law?
You, the judge, the police officers know nothing about the law.
But your daughter is a legal adult. Now, for every likes this video gets, one Karen will be sent to prison and take parenting classes. So please, save the world by smashing the thumbs up and notification buttons. To the story by Acer1. Entitled Aunt claims adult child has to obey her because it's the law. Another post about a parent volunteering their adult child reminded me of this. It happened to my cousin, but I was there for the majority of the story. I remember it so clearly for a couple of reasons in addition to just having a good memory. It was the first trip after my father had died, and it was, sadly, the last trip I took with my mother. She died less than a year later. My aunt was always playing the big shot of solving people's problems, but using my cousins as the actual person to take on the problem, always for free. If someone insisted on paying, entitled aunt kept the money. Need a babysitter, a ride, house cleaned, yard mowed, errands run?
Oh, my daughter can do it.
As far as my aunt was concerned, the only reason Emily was her ultimate trophy. Entitled Aunt was entitled long before it became a huge thing. Cast: EA, Entitled Aunt; Emily, cousin; Mike, Emily's boyfriend; me, Acer; PO1, Police Officer 1; PO2, Police Officer 2; Judge. My aunt has always been entitled. It's her personality type. My mother couldn't stand her little sister, so we tried to avoid her, while still maintaining contact with her husband and child. My uncle, well, their brother, lived further south in the state, so we always tried to avoid entitled aunt, knowing when we were visiting. On this trip, I was staying with my cousin for a couple of weeks in the summer, and we were going to do the tourist things. Entitled aunt thought that the university not being in session meant that cousin was free labor. One day, Emily decided that enough was enough. She was supposed to run errands for a friend of entitled aunt and had to tell her mother she had plans. Her mother, as usual, acted as though Emily had agreed and expected her to comply. Emily just didn't run the errand for the friend as demanded. It was that simple. My mother and I had arrived about 10 minutes before the phone rang. Entitled aunt called, and though this was back during landlines, she was screaming so loudly that both my mother and I could hear both sides clearly. Entitled aunt:
How dare you embarrass me with my friends? You call Mrs. No Name and apologize immediately. You are grounded for a month, and you may not drive the car at all. Now, you make that call and go run those errands now.
If anyone can explain how she was supposed to do this without using the car, I'd like to know. Emily: Mom, I'm 22. I do not live in your house. You do not pay my bills. You do not own my car. Run the errands yourself. I have plans. My mom was a little nervous leaving us at that point. It's a mom thing. And she has met a sister thing, even so we were both fine. She left just after meeting Emily's boyfriend. We left and went to a water park and a few other things. We got back to the house and were talking about where to have dinner. Mom insisted on paying for us to go someplace really nice for dinner that night. We get back and Emily's car is gone. She called and asked where it was. Emily: Mom, do you have my car?
Entitled aunt: Yes, I do. Your father brought me over so I could check and see if you had obeyed me. I told you that you were grounded and you were not there when I arrived. I'm keeping the car for a month, but I'm going to let Mrs. No Name borrow it because you have been so horrible to her.
Emily: Mom, that is stealing. I want my car back now or I'm going to report it stolen. No, Mrs. No Name cannot drive my car.
Entitled aunt: I am your mother. What I say goes, Missy. You need to learn some respect and to get it through your head that I'm in charge and you are the child. You don't own anything. It is mine because I am your mother. The police will likely arrest you for wasting your time.
Emily hangs up and looks at me. She is so angry and she's crying in rage. Emily: Acer, if I call the police, she's going to know you're here. Me: Well, I can live with that. Well, that fallout is a whole other story. She picks up the phone and calls the police, tells them the car has been taken without her permission and where it is. Mike, drive us over there. We do not want to miss the show. Police Officer 1 knocks on the door. Entitled Aunt answers. Entitled Aunt, hello officers, do you need something? PO1, ma'am, the vehicle in the drive matches the description and location my vehicle reported stolen. Entitled Aunt, it's my car. I took it from my daughter because she is grounded from using it for being disobedient and disrespectful. PO2, I see. May we have a word with her, please? Entitled Aunt, looking very smug. She doesn't live here. PO1, who had noticed us across the street. You three, come over here, please. PO1, did one of you call us? Emily, I did. It's my car, officer. My mother seems to think that she has control over it and me. Entitled Aunt, it's my car. I'm your mother and you have to obey me. It's the law. Tell her, officers. PO2, well, actually, ma'am, there's no such a law. Your daughter is an adult. Entitled Aunt, there most certainly is such a law. I'm going to report you to the chief for not knowing it. I may even sue. PO1 to cousin, may I see the car registration and your license, please? Emily hands them to him. PO1, ma'am, this car is registered in the name of your daughter and only your daughter. It's her car and you have no right to drive it. Entitled Aunt looks at the registration the officer is showing her and then snatches Emily's license from him and slams the door. The police officers look at each other for a moment and then shrug and ring the bell again. Entitled Aunt answers it, looking very smug. PO1, ma'am, I'm going to need you to return the license now. Entitled Aunt hands him the license that she has cut into several pieces. Entitled Aunt, now she can't drive because she doesn't have a license. She looks at Emily as though she just scored some odd victory. Then she finally noticed me. Entitled Aunt, hey sir, what are you doing here? Me, just trying to have a nice visit with my cousin. She has hated me for years. Entitled Aunt, you need to leave. I didn't give you permission to visit. Where is your mother? Me, well, I don't need your permission. My mother's not here. I can travel without her. PO1, ma'am, you are under arrest for destruction of government property. Apparently, cutting up a valid license is a felony in some places. Who knew? And grand theft of this car. Entitled Aunt, you can't arrest me. I'm her mother. I have rights. PO2, well, yes, you do. He then reads them to her. The officer explains to us that until she destroyed the license, he had been willing to issue an appearance ticket. Then, instead of being arrested, she would have just to appear in front of the judge and get a fine. This was a much bigger deal. Emily ran into the house to tell her father what had happened. We all chatted for a little bit until the phone rang. It was Entitled Aunt telling him to call their attorney. We left. I drove the car back to Emily's and took her to get her license replaced the next morning. The attorney called by my uncle apparently didn't know my aunt, and he showed up at the first hearing a week later to try and get it dismissed. It looked to be going her way at first. EA attorney, Your Honor, this is a family matter. It's simply a case of a mother disciplining her child and the child calling the police because her mother grounded her from using her car. Judge, so she got mad and called the police, and she, not knowing that it was a crime to destroy the license, did so. EA attorney, yes, Your Honor, that is pretty much it. Judge, prosecutor, do you have nothing better to do today? Prosecutor, no, Your Honor, I don't. I consider it rather important. When a 22-year-old woman has her car stolen, it doesn't matter who stole it. She has just as much of a right to justice as someone who has their car stolen by a stranger. Judge, wait, 22? The victim is 22? Prosecutor, yes, Your Honor. The victim is 22-year-old woman who is the sole owner of the vehicle in question. Her mother became enraged at her daughter, and she went to her daughter's home, stole her car, and later destroyed her license. EA attorney, Your Honor, I was not aware of the age or living situation of the victim. I was under the impression that the child was a minor who resides with her parents. Entitled Aunt was sitting there still looking smug. Her attorney was sweating bullets. Judge, Entitled Aunt, do you realize that these are very serious charges and if convicted, you face up to 8 years in prison?
Entitled Aunt, for what? I have the right to discipline my child as I see fit. She disobeyed me. She will think twice before doing it again.
Judge, no you don't. You have the right to discipline your child within the confines of the law. You have stepped outside of the parameter. You stole your daughter's car.
Entitled Aunt, I am her mother. It is my right. Isn't it really theft because she is my child and her property belongs to me by law?
Judge, where did you even get your law degree?
Entitled Aunt, I don't have one.
Judge, then let me to be the first to explain to you that your child is a legal adult, period. You have no right to anything of hers without her express consent, period. You may not take her car without her permission, period. You may not even enter her home without her permission, period. Do you understand that?
Entitled Aunt, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm her mother. That gives me the right. I'm in charge.
Judge, no ma'am, I'm in charge. This case will be held over for trial. I went home for a week later. Entitled Aunt eventually took a plea deal where she had 2 years probation and had to take parenting classes. The parenting classes were Mike's ideas and the prosecutor thought it was great. We laughed hysterically over that because my cousin is an only child, lol. Emily and Mike married a year later and moved the hell away from there. This took place about 30 years ago. Entitled Aunt maintained for the rest of her life that the judges, there were 5 for different status hearings, didn't know what the hell they were doing and she was right. TLDR, Entitled Aunt thinks she can punish adult child by taking her car. The police and the judge disagree with her. Seriously, Karen tried to argue with the judge about the law? Wow, how ironic. The second story by Yislash, Sloppy Ice Cream. This is a story as a result of a PCS move, military move, back home but still on active duty, and the duckery that ensues. I had served in both the regular army and the Special Operation Forces SOF community for just over 10 years when an opportunity arose. It was an assignment in the middle of nowhere, but was near what I claimed to be my hometown, Military Brat. I would later find out that the job was horrible, but that has nothing to do with the story. We had been in small town, USA for a couple months. We were pretty much settled in. My wife and I were not exactly prepared mentally though. Both sets of grandparents, specifically grandmas, had been away from their grandchildren since they were born. They were like flies at the house for first couple months. It was finally starting to subside when this happened. I should mention that my mom is different, at least I think she is. I've always been the independent type and I rarely, if ever, call home. It's not because I don't love my parents or friends, I just don't feel the need to talk unless I really have something to say. I feel less of a need to call my mother. Generally speaking, don't expect a phone call from me. Why? She is scattered and typically has nothing useful to say. She likes to gossip, but she is the lady in the chain of gossipers that twist information and realize the wrong facts, or tries to convince me of things. Typical phone calls from my mother are below. Ring ring ring. OP, hello. Mom,
Hey, what are you doing?
OP, nothing.
Mom, remember Jim Bob?
OP, no.
Mom, yeah you do. You went to the pool with him once when you were 6 months old when we lived in Germany.
OP, sorry mom, I don't remember Jim Bob.
Mom, yeah you do.
OP, no, mom, I don't remember him.
Mom, well, he died. Thought that you want to know.
Dear reader, this happens all the time. I have spoke on the phone with her no more than 20 times in the last decade, and at least 10 people I don't know have died. Unrelated, but this is our last conversation. Ring ring ring. OP, groggy. Hello? Mom,
Hi, you sound sleepy. What are you doing?
OP, sleeping?
Mom, midday nap?
OP, no, it's 2 in the morning. I am sleeping. Mom,
First name, middle name, last name. What country are you in?
OP, Lebanon?
Mom, what are you doing there?
OP, army work?
Mom, I called you to tell you that random lady who you used to watch you wrestle in high school passed away. Just thought you won't want to know. Love you. Bye.
I'm bad, but she worries. I've been injured in combat 3 times. I figured I will just tell her when I get back most times. Back to small town USA, it's a Saturday. I'm looking forward to having some time off. My wife was a swing shift ICU nurse at the time, and she was at work. I was home with the crib midget, 2 years old, and the miniature human, 6 years old. It was just the men at the house. I had woken up, feed the humans, and plopped them down in the living room to watch Paw Control while I took a shower. I get the army essentials, feed, potatoes, and bud, and return feeling refreshed from the shower. I conduct another inventory, but something is missing. Cake, crib midget, 2 years old, is missing. He is a bipedal monster, so I don't think much of it. I just ask Kelly, mini-human, 6 years old, where his brother is. I get the typical shoulder shrug response, great. I now have 3,200 square feet of the house to work with. I will systematically check the house, either finding him in his room watching TV or exploring the cleaning products under the sink. The first sweep was unsuccessful. The second sweep was unsuccessful. I now enlist the help of Kelly to find the speed demon. We are now 10 sweeps in and I'm panicking. I've talked to my wife many times on the phone. We have had the lost conversations. Babe, I lost my car keys. Do you know where they are at? Babe, I lost my army thing. Do you know where is it? No husband ever wants to call their wife and say, babe, you know that bipedal toddler we have? Yeah, that one. Do you know where it's at? I was there though. The house we lived in was old. The locks on some of the doors were different. Very old, and some were complicated to open. Kate could not penetrate the front door. It was just not physically possible. This dude is Houdini. He was an escape artist. I was at my wit's end. I had to call my wife. The conversation went exactly how anyone would expect it to go. She was worried. She was hysterical. There was no way I would ever hold that #1 dad titled coffee mug ever again. Duck! I did one last sweep under the direction of my wife, but it was now time to hand in my parent card and call the police. 911. Ring, ring, ring. Lady, 911, what is your emergency? OP, I lost my son. Lady, sir, you lost your child? OP, yes, I took a shower and now my 2 years old is missing. I've checked the house and he's not here. Lady, what is your location, sir? OP, set the address. Lady, what is your son wearing? OP, Thomas the Tank Engine shirt, blue diaper. Lady, where did you last see him? I have a large bay window, very large. Something caught my eye. The reflection of sunlight that bounces off cars screams through the window when they pass or park. A car had just parked in front of my house. It was my mother. Great. I'm now about to have a mom conversation, and this is how it would play out in my head. In my head, did not happen, by the way. OP, hey mom. Mom, hey. OP, remember that toddler I had? Mom, unlikely me. Yeah. OP, well, I lost him. Bye. I am dreading the fact that I have 911 on the line and I'm about to tell my mother the dreaded news. Then I see it. Was it? Cake? My ducking toddler. I kindly explained to 911 that I had found my human. Now, I was only a bad father in the eyes of my wife and the entire dispatch center. I was seething with anger. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, super calm, even in firefights. I simply don't stress out about much. This was not the case. I go charging out of the house. OP, what in the duck do you think you're doing? Mom, calm and shocked. What? I just went to grocery store. OP, with my child. You took my child. Mom, yeah, I stopped by and asked if the boys wanted to go. Cake did. OP, you ducking stole my kid, Mom. Stole my kid. Mom, chuckles. No, I didn't. I asked. Cake wanted to go. Kelly didn't. I told Kelly to tell you. Side note, Paw Control is like a trance for kids. The dang rapture could happen around kids while watching cartoons and they are unaware. God ducking forbid the cables goes out though. Then the real chaos start. I'm a warfighter with 14 combat deployments. I've said, Daddy doesn't want to watch Barney for the 20th time today, exactly once. There are some fights that are just not worth it. OP, you told Kelly? You told my 6 years old to relay a message to me. You thought that would work. Did you make that message contingent on a toy because he didn't know where his brother was? Mom, well, I told him. OP, Mom, you stole my kid. Then she ducking said it. Mom, I am grandma. I can take him. OP, Mom, you stole my kid. Mom, oh, I just took him. OP, it's not called took, it's kidnapping. Mom, I didn't kidnap him. OP, you walked into my house, asked 2 children if they wanted to go, told one to relay a message to me. Why did you not ask or tell me? Mom, I screamed out. I thought you knew. I lost my crap. It went on and on with her trying to convince me of her point. I was not having it. I was beyond mad. I called my dad to get his opinion and he just laughed. Grandma is trouble. She was leaving anyways. I couldn't kick her out. It didn't even consider her mentally. She was oblivious to the gravity and severity of the situation. I was not done yet though. It just so happened that this specific weekend was a 4-day weekend for me. I had the next 2 days off with the boys. My mom was unaware. She called on Sunday and asked what time I was dropping the boys off. Ding! Light bulb moment. We had just adopted a new dog. That was great training. Let us capitalize on this. OP, do you think you can watch the boys at the house so you can take Lola out? I don't want her in the cage all day. Mom, sure, I can do that. Great. Now my mom would be at my house from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Even better. My dad would be at work as well. D-Day 0600. My mom arrives at the house, still oblivious that I was still angry. No worries. I have 12 hours to work out my frustration. I depart the house and promptly arrive at her house, find the spare key, and let myself in. I reorganize everything. I mean everything. It didn't take long to do the living room. I moved the couch, I moved the love seat, I moved the father's chair, a coffee table, the TV, everything gets rearranged. I even moved pictures from wall to wall and used sticky tag to hang them upside down or wonky. Moving into a new place can be a hassle during military moves. I love cooking. The kitchen and a wood shop are my sanctuaries. It is such a pain in the butt to move into a new kitchen and get things where you want them. What is not a pain? Reorganizing someone's kitchen. Everything from top to bottom was reorganized. The powder room was close to the kitchen, so I put plates under the sink in the powder room and the toilet paper in the kitchen drawers. Again, everything was moved. I worked my way through the house ensuring that nothing was left untouched. The only room I didn't enter was the master bedroom. I'm one of the 3 siblings. They slapped it up 3 times in my brain. I was not interested or mentally willing to duck in that room. I did, however, take great pride in her cricket room to ensure that I moved everything. My last act of screw you in the house was taking every single remote in the house. TV, DVR, cable lights, you name it. If it was a remote, it was now in my possession. I then returned home at normal time. The changeover was typical. She asked how my day was, and let me tell you, it was a satisfying day of work for me. She acted as if the kidnapping event never happened. Well, she was about to remind it that I didn't forget. It was time to crack a beer, play with the boys, and wait for that phone call. Ring, ring, ring. Mom, remember, she's my mom. I love her, but she is different.
Were you at the house today?
OP, brain, is she serious? What?
Mom, did you stop by the house today? I think we were robbed.
OP, laughing. What? Robbed? Yeah. Robbers typically move your crap around. Yes, I stopped by the house.
Mom, you rearranged the living room?
My dad just gets home during the conversation. I hear my dad talking as he enters the house. What the duck? Dad's still overhearing him. Carla, what the duck did you do to the house?
Mom, I didn't do it. OP did.
She is oblivious still. Just looking at the living room, she laughs a bit, and we conclude the conversation. Now I am baffled. Oh well. Ring, ring, ring.
Mom, where in the hell are my pots and pans? There's toilet paper under the kitchen sink. The toilet paper does not go there. Dang it, OP.
Dad in background. Where's the remote, Carla? I hooked everything back up. I just moved it. Things still worked. Dad, background. Carla, remote! My mother is now walking through the house. She arrives in her arts and crafts cricket room. Mom,
First name, middle, last. What the hell did you do?
OP, I reorganized everything for you. Mom,
Oh my god.
pause. Dad, Carla, where's the remote for the TV?
Mom, where are the remotes?
OP, oh, I took them. I called out your name. I thought you heard me. She now explains to my father. Now, there's hysterical laughter in the background.
Mom, I am on my way over.
She arrived the house. I'm willing to break bread and settle this under one condition. OP, all you have to say is you're sorry for kidnapping my child and you won't ever do it again.
Mom, I didn't.
OP, you want the remotes back? OP, I'm sorry for kidnapping your kid and I will never do it again.
Mom, I am sorry for kidnapping Cake and I'll never do it again.
OP, thank you.
Mom, what time are you dropping the boys off tomorrow?
OP, I think you should come here until you figured out where your pots and pans are.
Mom, see you at 6. Love you. Bye.
And that's that. Military life is different, really different. I never thought in a million years I would live in my hometown and still be in the army. It was great at times. I was totally not expecting all the things that come with living in my hometown after being away for over a decade. The grandparents wanted to make up for years of not seeing them, and they did. There were obviously some learning struggles. Carla admitted defeat, and my dad eventually got his remote back. Everybody won. She is still a bad crap crazy lady. I love her, but boy is she different. TLDR, mother kidnapped my child. I reorganized the house. Cheers! You, my good sir, are a legend. A hilarious one at that. The way you worded all this is just brilliant. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.